how honored and blessed am I today that I get to actually sit back and do a lot of nothing. I am just absolutely couldn't be more honored and blessed to have Chrixy actually lead us today. We're going to be talking about marketing, and there is no question between the two of us. I don't know a thing about marketing compared to this young lady. She's a true blessing to Cultivate Wins, our organization. And not only do I know that she knows a lot, I know that she has a lot to share. And so I had asked her about a month or two ago if she would be willing to share that with as many people as possible. So I asked her if she would be willing to put together a marketing course. And she agreed to do that. So she will be releasing her marketing course next week, which I'm super excited about. I'm totally going through it myself because I want to have a better understanding of what Chrixy does and how she represents us. So I'm super excited to announce to you that Chrixy will have her course live next week. And Chrixy, what do you think right now? Do you think it's going to be about a 4 to 5 hour course? Is that about right?
That's 4 to 5 hours. It's spot on.
Okay.
I'm trying my best. That's the best I can
do. You're amazing, and the content's going to be amazing. So I asked if she would be willing, before the course comes out, if she'd be willing to share with us today, at least what some of that content might be. And Chrixy, we did one of these webinars last week. And when we did it last week, you had shared a lot of the marketing content, and then you asked me to kind of pop in from time to time and give more of the leadership perspective on it. And so we're going to play this a little bit by ear today. Chrixy, this is her show 110% today. If I'm not saying anything, it's because I am just hardcore listening. But that was a problem on the last one, because I think about 20 minutes in, I started realizing she's like, Breckheimer, say something. I was so busy listening and excited about what she was sharing. So Chrixy, if there's anything that you want me to jump in on, feel free to pull me in. Otherwise, I'm here as a student. That's all there is to it. And I'm grateful for you. Some of you I've met, and some of you we've had some connections online. Jeannie, I'm a huge fan of Jeannie. I love the work that Jeannie and Chrixy have done together. And some of you guys are just, you're crazy talented, and I'm just blessed to have you in the room today. So Chrixy, what do you have to share with us?
Let me share my screen as
All
a first step. So are you seeing it properly, and is my audio okay?
Yep, everything's beautiful.
Perfect. All right. So actually, since you've said that we're gonna be playing this by ear, I noticed that a lot of the participants right now are Filipino friends of mine. So I just wanted to say hi, everyone, and good morning, night owls. So it's 1 a.m. here in the Philippines, and I really appreciate that you're here with us today. And since you know me already, and some of these people I really miss because I haven't talked to them in a while, I want to let you know who David is. So David is my business partner. I've been working with him for a year. So this time I'm gonna introduce you so people know that he is one of the most wonderful person that I've ever met. So he's helped me as a marketing person grow professionally and personally. So if you haven't checked out cultivatewins.com, that's our website, you'll know a lot about the business and how we're marketing that business effectively, and if you ask me, quite innovatively. It's a very personal type of marketing, and this is something that we really want to share. That's why, although I wasn't comfortable at first, I said yes when David asked me if I can create the course. And you'll be hearing a lot of I blame David in that course because this is all his fault. The course will be released next week, and some of the content that we'll talk about in this webinar is actually a part of that course. So this is a sneak peek, so kind of a preview. So as you can see, I'm gonna move forward with the topic right now. This webinar is gonna be about efficient and practical ways to market your business. And we're always about practicality because in everything that we do, we want it to be efficient and effective. And that's something that you'll be hearing a lot in the next few minutes. So first things first, I'm very honored and I'm very pleased to be here with you. And I really appreciate and all of the gratitude. I'm sending all hugs and kisses to you for spending an hour with us in this day. So we appreciate you so much. And before we also see some people here who we haven't met yet. So welcome. Please feel free to unmute yourself if you have any questions. And if you have questions in the chat box, I think David is gonna be there and Jeannie's gonna be there to answer your questions. I put them in. I put you in their capable hands. So for those people who don't know me yet, I want to share some personal facts, some fun facts about me, so you'll feel a little bit more comfortable and personal. So we want to have this connection, and I think one of the ways that we'll have that is if you get to know a little bit about me. So if you want to pop in the comment section some things, some fun facts about you, we're totally okay with that as well. And side note, this is gonna be a surprise for some of my Filipino friends because they don't actually know. The first the first fun fact about me is I'm actually getting married next month to my first and last boyfriend, Pao. So he's a very wonderful man. So this is a photo of our prenup shoot. So I think some people here don't know that yet. So yay, surprise! Wish me luck, and I really hope you can pray for our marriage. And that's one thing I love about David. Whenever we have meetings, he has some marriage counseling tips for me. So whenever Pao and I have a conversation and we sometimes fight, David is like there to be our mediator. So he's not just the boss to me. He also is, another fun fact, one of our godfathers. So he's a ninong, even if he's not going to be able to attend physically, just virtually. So another fun fact is that I'm a fur mom to these wonderful cats, but they're not so wonderful if they're hungry. So we're a fur parents to these 5 cats, and David is also a fur parent. So whenever we have meetings, you'll actually see a lot of our pets in our lap or in our side and saying hello to each of us. So it's a really fun thing. So if you have some pets there, we're sending love to your pets. And then I also want to share a little bit about my professional background. I actually graduated as a journalism student in the University of Santo Tomas, and I took up my master's in multimedia. And then I graduated since the first thing that I worked on when I graduated journalism was media, creating news content. So I worked in a media outlet for almost 5 years. And one thing that I learned there that I took here in the marketing expertise that I have is that research is very important in all of the content that you're going to be producing for your business. If you're a business owner, if you're a team leader, or if you're just marketing for a team or a client, you have to understand that research is very important, and all of the information that you should be sharing with them should be factual. So that's one part, that's one industry I put my heart and soul into. And then I shifted to community development. So this is actually my portfolio, and you can see all of the works that I've done in there. And I actually am sharing this to you because I want you to have a context of where I am coming from whenever I share some learning. It's not just theory. It's something I experienced in the fields that I went through, and it's something that I learned with the people that I worked with and the mentors that I learned from. So after focusing on community development, I learned how to communicate on a deeper sense, on a more authentic way, because in community development you should go into the grassroots, talk to the people in the community, and that was very helpful because in digital marketing, which is the last industry I'm in, it's the focus I have right now. You have to understand that there are some barriers because you're talking to the computer, you're facing a camera and the screen, but there are ways where you can authentically connect to the other person in that screen. And that's what I learned in community development. So on the side, I'm actually also teaching in Letran, and I teach marketing, advertising, and customer service, what others in public relations, and the course that we created in Cultivate Wins. It's gonna tackle a lot of the lessons that I tackle in those classes. And this 1 hour seminar, it was really hard for me because there's so many things that I wanted to share and so many things that I wanted you to understand and learn that is that are important parts of marketing. But we're gonna focus on just this because I think this is a good starting point. If you're marketing for someone, if you're a business owner, these are some questions and topics and principles that you should start understanding and learning and solidifying before you actually go into the strategizing. So the topic we're tackling this in the next few minutes is number one, marketing in a nutshell. So we want to give you an overview in the landscape of the industry. Yes, David?
Okay, I need you to go back one slide because I think there's value there that I don't want to overshadow. Do you see right there where you're talking about your profile there?
Yes. What about it?
Hardcore. I cannot promote to anybody enough. That's a third of why I wanted to talk to you so much. Okay. So 1/3 of why I wanted to talk to you about potentially a role with Cultivate Wins was due to the fact that you were referred to me by someone that I trusted and respected a lot. So if any of you are ever looking for a new role, a position, okay, I want you to know why Chrixy was so attractive to me and why I wanted her on the team. One of them is she was referred. So I can't tell you enough how much networking and how important networking can be to your career. The second thing is, Chrixy, come on, what you put together on this little website, and you had shared this with me, I got to not only get to know you a little bit, but the amount of work that you had logged and shared in this particular site. And that was everything from digital media. It was everything from videos. It was everything from brochures, pamphlets. You told me every single skill set that you had, every single piece of software that you've used. I'm not kidding. I walked out of there going, you got to be kidding me. There's no way I'm going to get this lucky and meet someone that has this level of background. Now, here's the thing is, she could have told me some of those things in her interview. Okay. But I would highly, highly recommend that if you have not seen this particular page and this particular site from Chrixy, ask her for a copy of a link to that. Take a look at that, because I'm just telling you right there, you don't have to put something together exactly like that, but I'll tell you, I wouldn't go too far from it because it was impressive. Absolutely blew my mind. Now, the third thing I do want to mention about this is, Chrixy, you had included something that not everybody will have on theirs, but I'd be lying if I didn't say that it had an impact on me. You didn't just have work that you had done, such as graphics and everything else like that. There was quite a bit of video of you on there. And I'm telling you right now is, when I'm going to hire someone, I want to know a little bit about their soul. I want to know a little bit about their heart. And I'll just tell you right now, there's nothing wrong with the product that you produce. But I got to see her as a human being, and I got to see how she handles herself. And I'm just telling you, I was impressed with her as a human being. And so that attracted me as well. So I do want to let you know that this one part that you just kind of quickly skated over was a huge part of it's 2/3. It was your networking. You were promoted to me by someone that I trusted. Number two, you presented and put your very first foot forward. And I'm like, wow, I could have that as a part of my organization. That absolutely intrigued me, and I couldn't wait to talk to you. So I just want to make sure that everybody knows that was a valuable piece. And it's just, you're talking about marketing Cultivate Wins and marketing any organization you're with. If you're going to be trying to further your career, you're marketing yourself as well. So I hope that's okay to share.
I love that. And actually, while you were sharing, it just complements the fact that we're talking about how essential marketing is, whether you're marketing yourself or you're marketing the business that you're working with or you're working for.
Yep.
The way that you should be putting everything in one place, it's very important.
Yeah.
So I that's one thing that I learned in my years of experience in different fields. That's why I actually put a portfolio. It took some time, but it was totally worth it. So this also applies if you are in a business or you're marketing a business.
Yep.
Make sure that you have a place where people can visit. That's why websites are very important, like a landing page where you can put all of the services that you provide and all of the content or the blogs or all of the testimonials and a little bit of your soul in there. So they don't
Yep.
just need the content, they need to get to know you.
And everybody gives me a resume. This was something a step farther than a resume. Have your resume ready, but that was a step farther, and that actually made a difference of why I wanted to reach out to her. So I hope that helps someone.
That I really do hope as well. So that's marketing. That's actually marketing in a nutshell. That those are the important parts that you need to understand, and it's already a pillar that you should understand how important marketing is. And then when you already are in the place where you allot time, effort, and invest in marketing, the first, like, I truly recommend this. The first thing you should start with is getting started with your brand, establishing your brand. And if you already have one, trying to evaluate if it's still the brand that you're going for. And then just for the sake of time, we're going to talk a little bit about what's next, or the baby steps. These are topics that we can have like a full course on. And these are topics I give lessons for a whole course, like for a whole semester to my college students. So we're gonna try to be brief and concise, but we also want to be efficient and practical in the things that we'll be talking about. So if you have questions, we might have time later on. Just put them in the comment section. So first things first, what is marketing? The first course that we'll be releasing next week is going to be basics on marketing, specifically social media and email marketing. But in a sense, that's just the first step. If you want to go further, there are extensive things that we need to work on. So in Cultivate Wins, we're actually planning on creating a roadmap for marketing. So the first course is going to be the basics, and eventually we'll try to release some more, talking about extensive walkthrough on the tools you need to train yourself and know, and then extensive walkthrough on the content that you can create. So we'll dig deeper than the tip of the iceberg. And then we also have a plan to release something sort of an advanced digital marketing course. It's going to talk about systems and how and why you should put your CRM in the center of it all and integrate your marketing strategy in whatever CRM you're using. So the database matters. And I think that's conversation for another course or another webinar. So I won't go into that. So going back, marketing is the action or business of promoting and selling your products or services. So quick question. Whenever you post something in social media that shows the product you're selling or shows the service that you're providing, is that already marketing? Another question, if you're sending out newsletters, if you're sending out emails, is that already marketing? The answer is yes, because marketing is the essence of it is just promoting and selling your product. If you're a financial advisor and you're sharing with people the testimonials of your clients, then that's already marketing wherever you post that. But the thing is, when you want to market efficiently, practically, and effectively, you have to look at it in a holistic way. So it's like small pieces of a puzzle. And if you don't put all the puzzle pieces together, then it's not the perfect marketing for your business. That's why we're talking about efficiency and effectivity, because marketing has many things that you need to put into one picture. Like your email marketing and your social media marketing should have connection. It should complement each other. And this is a very important principle that we talk about here in Cultivate Wins. The thing is, when you want to create that whole picture, if you want to really market your business in an effective way and in a what do you call this? In an effective way and somehow innovative way, you should understand that there are principles you should use as a foundation. And in Cultivate Wins, we want to share this with you. The first principle is you should know what hats you're wearing. And I want to ask David to talk a little bit about the hats, because he's more, that's like one of the conversations he always has. He can't sleep if he doesn't talk about that. So if you can help us a little bit more about the hats, I would really appreciate that.
That's awesome. Okay. So the situation with hats is I'm going to talk from a real estate perspective. So I can go into every single career and give maybe a more specific example, but because we're kind of right now talking about real estate with a lot of our customers, when I'm an agent, active marketing is actually being active. Think about direct contact with your customers. That might be making the calls, calling for sale by owners, calling expireds, all of that type of stuff. But the reality in our market today is you can have an active conversation with someone. And when you're done with that conversation, that person can hang up the phone. And what's going to happen is it's very available for them to go just about anywhere and find out more about you. So they're going to go onto Instagram, they're going to go onto Facebook, they're going to go onto LinkedIn, they're going to go onto your website and everything else like that. And what we talk about is your passive marketing, let's just talk about social media. Does your passive marketing support what you are doing actively? So when I actually speak to someone in person about coaching and we talk about coaching, I already know what's going to happen. I already know what's going to happen to a prospective coaching client. We're going to talk. And then after we talk, they're going to go check me out on Facebook. They're going to go look at my Facebook group. They're going to go look at my Facebook page. They're going to look at my website. And they're going to look at Instagram. And the question is did everything that I represented in that call, is it actually backed up and supported via my passive marketing? Okay, but I think the average person in our business, which would be coaching or real estate, their dream, their absolute dream is that they don't actually have to do any active marketing. They would love that their social media gets them all the business that they want, but they never ask themselves, is the way that I'm actually marketing passive or active? Now, at some point, your business can grow to such a point that your actual social media becomes a very active part of your marketing. But to not ask that question based on where you are in your career or any type of organization that you're helping is, just using social media as an example, is your social media based on where and the type of product and where that organization is with their client base, because maybe they're more referral based now because they've been doing this for years. Is their current social media, would you consider it an active marketing, or is it currently more of a passive marketing that needs to support an active marketing? So a good organization is very, very self-aware and honest that one organization, their social media can be active marketing. Most of them, though, it's really not. It's more passive at that state of their business, and it needs to support their active. So it's asking the right questions. Am I wearing my active marketing hat right now or my passive, and which is supporting which? And so that's a little bit, does that help a little bit, Chrixy, with a little bit of an introduction?
Yeah. So thank you, David.
Yeah.
The essence of Cultivate Wins, we know what hats we wear. So in a sense, you have to understand what hats you're wearing. And in marketing, if you want to talk a little bit more deeper on the hat, there's actually some lesson that David has that talks like super detail about that, like what hats you're wearing as a personal sense, like if you're a father, if you're a grandfather, if you're a brother, what hats you're wearing if you're the business owner, the in the business and then the on the business, and then what hats you're wearing as a marketing person. So in my sense, I'm the whole marketing department of Cultivate Wins. And one thing that helped me be an effective marketing director is that I knew the sub hats that I had to wear. Number one, I had to be a content creator. Number two, I had to do copywriting or write some captions. I had to do how to create the verbiage and the language and make it sound Cultivate Wins. I had to do the layout. I was an artist and I had to design a lot of our materials, and I also had some video editing because we have video content. So since I knew how many hats I should wear, I effectively created a time block. So I'm sure that there's nothing I missed. So that's what hats mean. And if we're going deeper, one more hat that you should understand is the two different hats that talks about lead generation. So this is very important, I know, for a lot of people, especially if you're in the marketing industry. So I know that Bea is a financial advisor. Hi, Bea. Hi, mom. Hi, Bea. So Bea is a financial advisor. So if you need people here, actually, Mark is also a financial advisor here in the Philippines, and lead generation is their bread and butter. So I hope you get a lot in this topic, like the active and the passive marketing. So these are different hats that you should wear when you're lead generating, when you want to find clients. Number one, the active marketing, the key that's the key to your business. And David has talked a lot about that in the past few minutes already, saying that active marketing, you personally get in touch with the people. So you do your weekly calls, you do your coffee dates with the people, you do your door knocking and you visit people, you host events when it's possible, either virtual or person to person contact. So active marketing, you're there, you're the person talking to other people. That's why it's the key to your business, because just like David said, he wanted to talk to me because he wanted to know my soul, because that's how it works in business. People need to know who you are before they say yes to what you're offering. And this is very important. If you want to do it in a holistic manner, if you want to look at it in the complete picture, you should also have a passive marketing. In our example, my portfolio site is a passive marketing. After I finished creating that portfolio, I was hands off. And then David saw that. So the passive marketing will do an amazing job at bringing business to you, but it's only a supplement to what your active marketing does. So my active marketing is I schedule interviews and I talk to people. So when David got or was captured in the passive marketing in my portfolio, I talked to him, and that's my active marketing. And in a sense, when it worked together, here we are right now, and the opportunities are boundless. In your business, passive marketing like social media can also turn potential clients into actual clients. And this is the example. If you post something in social media, if it's in the real estate sense, if you post a house that just got listed and there's someone who commented on that, you should personally answer. Like, not just say that this is available. Yes. Talk to that person. Like, so where are you staying? Are you interested? Get to know that person. That's active marketing. And when you do the passive marketing correctly and do the active marketing to support it, that's when you'll have valuable connections. Even if you don't convert them into actual client at that point, they'll know you already. And that's a really big part of marketing. So the next
Chryssy,
conversation, yes,
can I give one example here? Because
go
we
ahead,
just had an
please.
example of this morning, didn't we? Someone sent us a message that we had never met. And at this point in my career, I've done so much active marketing where someone has, and let's just say that they made, I'm going to use your example, that someone actually saw some of our passive marketing and they made some type of statement. I take that, what is passive marketing, and I actually see that statement, and depending on what's appropriate, because I'm very personable with people, I may comment because I think my comment to them on social media may help both them and a lot of other people. But Chryssy knows this well. It's probably even more common that I'm not going to just comment on that. I'm probably going to reach out to them on the back end, and I'm going to personally ask them with no intention of selling them anything, how can I help you? Literally, would it help just to jump on the phone for 15 minutes? So we had someone to, and then you do that enough. That's my active. I directly make contact with people. I want to connect with them and I want to connect with their souls. And I mean that very seriously. So when I'm connecting with them on a very real basis, what ends up happening is I do that enough and I get known for that enough, all of a sudden my passive marketing actually becomes also effective. And what happened this morning is Chryssy said, hey, do you know this person? And my answer was honestly no. And here's the message that we got today. The practical side of real estate, she sent this message. This is all capitalized. This is answered prayer. Thank you so is all capitalized. Thank you so much for providing not only treasures, but the treasure maps too. Thank God for provision and resources from you. I ask him to lead, guide, bless, and provide, and he is faithful. Thank you for your compassion and your diligence. So we got that message this morning. And that message comes from someone who has just seen me do active marketing with other people where I'm just serving other people. And that resonated with her. So passively, I'm not even actively marketing to her. Passively, she's seen me serve other people with a real heart and with a level of information that brings her real value. And so all of a sudden, she becomes a member of the practical side of real estate. And all of a sudden, now she's going through all of our courses. And now all of a sudden, she's sending me messages telling me that it's had an impact on both her personal and professional life. Now that is, if you take that holistic approach that Chryssy was talking about, that's an authentic, holistic approach that is now paid, if you want to call it dividends or whatever you want to call it. I don't like that type of conversation, but people want to talk about marketing and does it convert into, dollars and those types of things. For us, it converts into souls to a certain extent. That's more the way we think. But the fact is it does end up building our clientele base. And now our passive and our active marketing is working hand in hand. So that would be one example that we just got probably an hour or two right before this call. That's just kind of our day-to-day life, what we experience on a regular basis. And I'm
conversation, like, who's this person?
Yeah, I'm very, very, very grateful that I'm just one person and it's hard for me to handle all of that. And so I needed help. And the help that I was blessed to get was from an amazing talent by the name of Chrixy. So that's how that all works together. That's how that all works together. I hope that helps at least put something in perspective.
Thank you. And what we've learned so far and what's effective in Cultivate Wins, that's what we want to share with a lot of people, because we know this is of value to many people. So going back to the conversation, we already talked about the two foundation that we believe in Cultivate Wins, which is you have an active and a passive marketing, and you have to understand what hats you're wearing. And since we already have that as pillar of our conversation, we move on to the fact that marketing is always changing. So in a sense, I always say this to my class. Whenever I talk to them, you have to get yourself ready because marketing is very exhausting. It's always changing, so you always have to learn. You should never stop learning. But at the same time, it's what makes it exciting. So if you're a business owner right now, if you're an independent transaction coordinator, if you're a marketing person in the team, or if you're a financial advisor and you're marketing your own business, then you have to understand that the landscape and the playing field always changes. And somehow you have to embrace the reality that sometimes it's unpredictable. The change that's going to happen is unpredictable. So it can be exciting, it can be exhausting, but overall, it's something that you can predict. Like you can predict that there is going to be change in it. So we have to understand that change is something constant in the marketing industry. And when you understand that and when you embrace that, you'll be ahead of other people because you'll make sure that you yourself you try to get into what the trends are. So now that we have that covered, we can talk about some trends in social media and email marketing. So social media and email marketing are just some of the types of marketing, because in media we have digital and we have print. And you have to understand that not all businesses can work in digital only and can work in print only. There's no one way to do it in marketing, but there is some principles that you should learn that will be very helpful so that you can find what works for you. And in Cultivate Wins, that's what we always talk about. That's why it's efficient. That's why it's practical. So we're focusing on the digital side of things. And especially in the new normal, digital became the trend. Digital marketing is the defining factor for most businesses right now. And some businesses who didn't jump in the digital boat were extra challenged, and some even went bankrupt, because right now having your digital marketing is like a lifeline. Social media became the center of businesses, and some use social media to create customer journeys, some use social media to lead generate, and some form relationships there. So there's a lot of opportunities just in social media. And we also talk about email marketing, and that's also the same for email marketing. There's so many opportunities if you know how to utilize it. Right now, the trends in social media and email marketing are this. These are just some that I picked that experts are talking about in 2021. This is going to change in the next few years. So the course is actually something that we decided on about the course is that it's going to be growing. So whenever there are new trends that we want to share, we'll be adding content to it, because that's how marketing works. So if you are taking a marketing course, make sure that there's continuity in that. So there's follow up in the courses that you're taking. There's new lessons that you should learn, because in the realm of marketing, there's always something new. For example, your years ago we didn't have Facebook Marketplace, but you can actually already sell your product and your services in Marketplace for free. Are you utilizing that? Do you have Facebook groups where you join or you create or you maintain? And this is a really funny story. One of the first things that I tried to tell David that we should do is create a Facebook group. Like in the beginning of our partnership, that's one of the strategies that I was so confident. Let's do a Facebook group. Let's do a Facebook group. And David was so adamant about it. He's like, no, no, thank you. And then I just kept on bugging him until he budged. And right now, we have 2,000 people in the practical side of real estate community that's being blessed by David. And here's a fun fact, and like seriously, this is true. We can't stop David from posting on the group, and people are loving it. Like every day you see his face, every day you see his stories, and he was so against it before. So that's how marketing is. It changes the person. It's always changing, and it changes the experiences that people have. And if you know how to utilize a certain feature of a platform, then it's going to work in your favor. So you always have to know the platforms that you're prioritizing. So for example, also in YouTube, there weren't any live videos before. In Instagram, there weren't any reels. So Jeannie and I just talked about it, I think yesterday. Instagram released a new feature, the reels. It's like TikTok, but there's a little bit of difference. So Jeannie and I always have a conversation on what's new, because that's a healthy habit you should have when you're a marketing person. So just some of the trends that I want to breeze through is number one, people first social media. Social media right now is very audience based. The content that we produce should be coming from the audience. Like you should be asking the people you're targeting, what do you want? What do you need? And then you create content based on that. There's diversification because there's so many platforms available. You should learn to repurpose the content that you have, but you also have to learn how to fit that content into that specific platform. And live is very much in the trend right now because people are missing each other. So live events like this is very much needed so people can connect with each other. And then in email, when you're sending out email, interactive emails and animations are very much a go-go. It's an advantage when people are seeing some action when they read their emails, because email is very static. So if you add some movement, it adds a little bit of an innovation and creativity in that. There's also user-generated content. A lot of the experts have been saying that in emails, when you're sending out newsletters, when you're sending out private or group emails, you should always connect with them on a personal basis. And if you can share in your email some user-generated content as well, for example, testimonials, then people are more attracted to engaging and connecting with you because they feel heard. They feel heard. And the last is segmentation and targeting for email marketing. When you have a mailing list, you have to make sure that it's very much segmented. For example, in Cultivate Wins, we have this membership site, and there are more than there's like 200 members already, and we haven't even hit the year yet. So there's 200 and more people in there, and we send specific emails just for members, so they feel the exclusivity. At the same time, they feel how important they are, and we get to talk to them on a personal basis because we segmented that email. It's just for them. And there's also an email coming out monthly that's just for non-members or for the general public, and we create FOMO, the fear of missing out. What are the members having that you're not having if you're not subscribed to that? So when you do segmenting versus when you do it in a whole bunch, you get to target people and you get to give different messages, and that works better. All right. And then we're gonna jump into the next part of this conversation. Now that we have that finished, the trends, the principles, the foundation, and we all learned a little bit about the overview of marketing, we talk about what you need to do next when you have that information and when you've learned that knowledge and when you've accepted and embraced that it's something that you should be doing, something that you should be learning. When you're ready, the next step is ask your why. So David, this is another thing that David always says, like there's not going to be a day that he doesn't ask what's your why. And when he has conversation, especially with people he just met, he's going to ask you what's your why. So it's something that we hear a lot in all in different industries, in different conversations, in the book that we read. Why is always asked. And in marketing, it's actually very essential as well. Someone's drawing in our in our screen. So hello to whoever is drawing. So when you say what is your why, we're actually talking about the brand. Because here in Cultivate Wins, we believe that your brand tells your story. So most designers actually think that brand is just something that you look at so you can present what your colors are, what your palettes are, what your fonts, what's your vibe, what's your language. But for Cultivate Wins, we learned that your brand is your story. Your brand is your why. It's not just about the looks. It's about who you are as a business and how you want to share the services that you're providing. So your brand should be established first because whatever you create should be connected to your brand. So people always dive into the how to do social media, how to do email marketing, what tools should I be using? But actually, if you ask me, my recommendation is the first question you should ask is who are you and why do you need to market you? So having a journalism background, I always tend to go back to the 5 Ws and 1 H principle. And using that formula, David and I created a cheat sheet or some sort of a checklist. So it's a branding 101 questions to ask if you want to create your own brand or if you want to establish your own brand. If you already have a brand, you can do an audit, and that's a different conversation that you can check out in the course. So the first question is who are you and what is your why? So when you ask who you are and what's your why, it's basically talking about your core foundations. What's your story? Why did you go into this business in the first place? Why are you serving the people you're serving? Like in a deeper sense, why are you doing what you're doing? Because when you learn the values and the preferences that your business has, it's going to be easier to market it to other people. Because when you understand and embrace who you are as a business, sometimes it just naturally goes over into a conversation. So you don't even have to try hard to market yourself if you know who you are, if you know why you're doing this in the first place. So it's basically your mission and your vision. What is your goal? So for example, here in Cultivate Wins, we have a 5 by 5, and it's like a mortal sin if you don't talk about it in our conversations and in our meetings. Like that's a very important factor. And we don't even need to have this copy. It's like it's integrated in our daily lives. So the 5 by 5 is this: you have to have systems that are scalable, duplicatable, freakishly predictable, efficient, and effective. And this is very important on my side because when you have these kinds of systems, it automatically gets you the 5 other principles, which is peace, contentment, joy, gratitude, and compassion. It's a very interesting conversation to have with David if you ask him why or how we got that 5 by 5. So if you want to know more about that, get in touch with him. But this 5 by 5 is free for all. So if you want to use this as your own, I'm promoting it and you can use it. So I'm sure David would love me saying that. The 5 by 5 became our who and became our why. So in everything that we do, all of this principle should be present. And all of the marketing materials that I should create, it should be informed by peace, contentment. So we always share joy. We always are grateful. In the Facebook group, if you join, so please join, we'll be sending out some links. You'll see that we celebrate wins. It's all about joy. Even the mini wins and the big wins, we celebrate it together. And whenever we have conversations with people, even if it's social media, if it's an email, we make sure that we are very compassionate towards the other person. So that's who we are. That's why we exist. So David is a coach, and in every coaching call he has, all of this is basically present in the conversations that he has. And as a marketing person, whenever I create graphics, whenever I create content or the blogs, whenever I create emails, I always make sure that it's very much in line with the who and the why Cultivate Wins exists. And then the number 3, it's obvious. But for you, the next question when you establish your why is, does your team know? Does everybody in your team understand what your core principles are? And the number 4 is, when should they practice this? So it's another quote that we have in Cultivate Wins. Whoever you are, sorry, I
I can
always
say it. Whoever I am sometimes is who I am all the time. And it needs to be that consistent. And Chrixy knows that when I talk about peace, contentment, joy, gratitude, compassion, you kid me? I want that in my marriage. I want that in my professional life. And I want to do whatever it takes to help provide that to everybody I'm interacting. And that could be anybody that I'm doing business with, anybody I'm coaching with. But then on top of that, I don't care if I'm buying coffee from someone. How do I help provide and create peace, contentment, joy, and be fully informed by gratitude and compassion while I am being served, just someone asking me for a cup of coffee, versus being with
And
my wife, versus being with my son, versus being with a coaching client. It doesn't matter to me. Who I am sometimes is who I am all the time. So that's why those principles exist. The one thing I do want to say, though, I can't help it, is joy. Okay. I do want to make sure that joy is not misunderstood in this 5x5. Think about this. You can think about this in your marriage, because I do. Okay. But I get that this is a business call, so I'll use a business example. Okay. But Chrixy knows 9 times out of 10, if I'm going to use an example, I'm all good with just going, let's just talk about marriage. Okay. Here's the deal is joy. So often we want to think about what brings us more joy. And if you think of all the memes that are out there, it's constantly asking you, hey, figure out what your joy is and do more of it. That's the most ridiculous statement I've ever heard. Grow up. Come on, grow up. Here's the deal is, if you're a busy professional, the last thing in the world you want to do is do more of anything. You're busy. You don't want to do more of anything. So what the joy factor means for me in this is this. Think about how much joy you have, and then think about what steals your joy. If you actually focus less on doing what brings you more joy, and you actually focus on what steals your joy, and you actually take care of that, the only thing that's left is joy. Find what steals your joy and actually deal with it. Actually do something about that. If you do that, the only thing that's left is that joy. The joy that could have already been there is being shadowed by the fact that there are things also there that steal your joy. So think about that from a personal perspective, but think about that in your marriage. Okay. Don't just do things in your marriage that will bring you more joy. Think about, is there anything in your marriage or anything for your spouse that is stealing their joy, and actually deal with that. Now think of our customers. Is there anything for my coaching clients? Is there anything for your customers? Is there anything for your employers? Is there anything for your staff that is stealing their joy? If we just take care of what steals our joy, if all we do is add joy, we're just diluting the things that are stealing it. Actually deal with what. And that's what the auditing of the system is. When I'm looking at the system, I want everything to be scalable, duplicatable, freakishly predictable, effective, and efficient. And part of how I do that is I look at what is stealing my customers' joy, what's stealing my joy, what's stealing our employees' joy. And if we take care of what steals their joy, don't we automatically feel more peace and contentment? Aren't we automatically, by thinking that way, aren't we already looking from a point of compassion? So the joy, everybody looks at this 5x5 and thinks we're just trying to add more joy. I'll tell you right now, that's secondary to me to finding what being self-aware and honest, what steals our joy, and actually taking care of that. I hope that helps a little bit.
yeah. So do you understand the struggle I was in when I was thinking, how can I market all of this in the content that I'm creating? So that was one of my existential crisis moments. But eventually, when I learned how to use this and accept how important this is and embrace the mission to share this with a lot of people, I was very much calm and contented that one by one step at a time, we'll get there. So the next question is, does your team know where to find it? Because as you can see in our 5x5, one of the things that you should have there is it's efficient, it's effective, it's freakishly predictable in the sense that you know where to find it. We have a rule in Cultivate Wins, the 30-second rule. Everything you need to find, you have to find it in 30 seconds or less. And David is really gonna take out a timer and ask you and then try to understand, like, is it under 30 minutes before you find this? And we actually apply that in our real life as well. So if you ask me and Pao, my fiance, we have some, if you can see here at the back, we actually post some of the principles that we want to apply in our marriage and in our life, because this is somewhere we pass through a lot when we're together. So that's how you should also put up your business. If you can put your why, you can put your mission, vision in some place you see all the time.
Yeah.
It's so in your business or in your team, it's very important to have an image that caters the why, the who, the where, the what, the when. Because that way, it's very easy to find it. And when you onboard someone new, The more that they know about it, the more that you talk about it, the more that they see it, the more that they'll be able to incorporate it in the business and in their lives. So the last question here is, now that you know all of this, what's next? And where should you be putting it? So since we're running out of time, I'll just be breezing through the next two slides, but it's also connected in what we've been talking about. When you answer all of these questions in the Branding 101 checklist, the next thing you should do, highly recommended that you should do, is create your brand board or your brand kit. And it should be connected to what your answers are. So this is an example of a brand kit that we created, and we're gonna be so happy if you use this. So we're sharing this as a free template so you can get started when you want to create your brand as a team or as a business. We'll be sending out the link afterwards. And if you want to go a little bit deeper, this is a brand guideline. So the brand guideline or the brand kit is actually or the brand board is just actually talking about the technicals. So this is what designers usually do. They create the colors, the font, the vision and the goal, what photos you should be using, what animations. But in our sense, in our case, we really want to recommend and suggest that when you create this, get that anchor, the checklist. Like for example, the 5x5. We're talking about compassion, we're talking about joy. And the reason why we're using blue is because the color blue somehow imitates calm and a positive essence. So there's a color psychology in here. Like it's very positive, the energy that blue is emitting in all of the content that we create. It's very much a good mood. So that's why we use blue. And the typography that we use, it's very clean, it's very concise, it's straight to the point, it's very easy to read because that's how we are. We want everything to be efficient. We want everything to be duplicatable, scalable, and freakishly predictable, effective, and efficient. So everything that you see in this brand guideline, it's actually connected and anchored in the brand that we decided to create as a foundation. So there's photo guide, there's illustration guide, sample works, and the a logo explanation, and then even logo variations, co-branding guide, and then of course a connect with us. So that's a brand board. And imagine if there's someone new in your team and they ask, who are you? Or what am I doing here? What are we going to be marketing? You can just send them this brand guideline as a starting point and then talk to them a lot about why that is. And that gets you to the conversation of the checklist. So this is the color because this is what we believe in. This is our goal. That's why this is what we're using. So that's how the brand guide works. And then the where. So we're just gonna breeze through this, but in the course, this is actually a whole module. And whenever I teach it to my students, this is a whole semester. So right now we can start with what or where should the content be present at, or what content should be present. Number one, there should be graphics. There could be graphics. So you can start with photos, you can lay out infographics, and then you can have videos. And if you're talking about content that's audio based, you can use podcasts or emails. So these are the content that you can choose from, and you have to strategically put a time to create each of them, a little bit of time to put the puzzle pieces into that whole image, so you'll know that you're holistically doing it. And the skill set that you need would be design and layout, editing, creating emails, and copywriting. But here's the deal. You don't have to do it all at once. So this is a process and you should trust that process. You should understand that this is a starting point. So congratulations, you know where to start. But don't try to do it all in one. So it's not an overnight snap and you can do it all at once. You have to learn it. It took me years before I can even say that I can do all of this. It took me a lot of um, conversations, learning. It took a lot of crying before I can say that this is something that I can do effectively and efficiently, because that's how it works in marketing. You grow as a person and your work grows as well. So now that we have a picture of what type of content you can create if you want to market your business, you have to understand that these are some of the skill set that you should learn. And to top it off, you have to understand, and we highly recommend that you stick with specific tools that you want to use, because the more that you try to do it in every or in many places, the harder it is to master it. And if you're talking about systems that are scalable and duplicatable and effective and efficient and predictable, if you stick to one tool, that's going to be easier. and it's going to be more, that's like an advantage. And even if you add a person, hopefully that person sticks to that same tool, because that way it's going to be easier to do the revision. So for example, in design, we use Canva. In video editing, we use Canva for some of the graphics and some animations, and then I use Final Cut Pro. So if we add some people in Cultivate Wins, hopefully they do Final Cut Pro. If not, we're gonna do something about it, and we're gonna try to create a system that works for that. And then we have project managers. So I really hope when you're in a big team, you're using project managers, because if you're not, I think it's gonna be chaotic. But if you put something in one place, that's going to be better. So David and I, we have an Excel sheet where we put all of the links that we need to access, and that's very helpful in a sense that whenever we need to find anything, we can find it in 30 seconds or less. And then the last thing is this is actually one of the first things that we talked about. You have to have a website, a landing page, or a blog site. If you decide, if you're just starting and you decide that you want the website to be like, if you're not capable enough yet to create the website, you can just choose to put everything in Facebook as a starting point, like your Facebook page. Everything you do is in your Facebook page. And whenever you have some blogs, you put it in your Facebook page. Then that's the start. But eventually, when you grow, I highly suggest that you put it in a website or a landing page, because it's better, it's clearer, and you can see everything in a much more enticing way if it's laid out in a website. And then all of the things that you post in social media, all of the emails you send out, all of the content that's in both of those platforms should be present in your landing page. That's how it should be. That's highly recommended. It's the way to go, because in a holistic sense, you'll see where you are and you see what you're lacking. So for example, in Cultivate Wins, we actually have a goodie bag page. All of the free tools you can access, you can just go to that page, and then you'll have unlimited access to all the free things. And we update that regularly. So we have free courses, and that's in the goodie bag page. And if you visit the website, you can already access that goodie bag page. So everything we do, you can find in our website. And that's a really effective way of doing things, so that whenever people ask us about what your service are, who you are, what you do, what you believe in, it's all in the website. And whatever is in the website, we use social media and email to supplement and complement them. And this is a more advanced conversation, but you can have ads, you can have printed materials as well. But that can be a topic for a different conversation. So I think to end, the next or the best way to end this is, how are you really going to convert your leads into clients? Because we've been talking about social media and email marketing a lot. We already actually answered this question. Have some genuine conversations and build real relationships with the people you're talking to online and offline. And you're eventually going to convert the leads that you get in your marketing into actual clients, and not just actual clients. You might actually convert them into someone as a friend or someone as a family. So that's how it works. Marketing is very beautiful in that sense, because when you create genuine connections, it's not just for your business, it's also for your personal life. So anything to add, David, before we set the
Okay,
stage for questions?
you just finished off on one topic that I love, and that is this. Think about this, what we talked about, the active versus passive earlier, okay? Does your passive marketing, does it actually support your active marketing? But what you just mentioned, Chrixy, is that the opposite is true too. You can have passive marketing, but how do you take passive marketing and hopefully it becomes active marketing, meaning you add something passive and it actually created an opportunity for you to make direct contact with someone. And what you just mentioned, Chrixy, you know, means a lot to me, which is this. I'm not just looking to connect with someone because I want to make a sale. I'm looking to connect with someone because I want to make a connection, and this is about relationships. To me, the greatest businesses are those that master the art of building true and authentic and meaningful relationships. And your marketing actually has the capability to introduce you to people so that you can create real and authentic relationships. And you can bring real value to those relationships. That's how we look at it. Now, the last thing I would say is, and I know I don't have everybody on video, but if I did, I'm sure everybody would raise their hand. Am I not the luckiest guy in the world to have Chrixy on my team? Huh? Hardcore, yes. I know you're all raising your hands. I know you're all clapping, and I know you're all agreeing with me. Chrixy, I'm crazy grateful for you. I'm really, 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 really honored that you are going to be coming out with your course. I know that this was, I mean, how do you take 4 or 5 hours and throw it in 45 minutes to an hour? But I think you brought crazy, crazy value today. I'm crazy grateful for you. And I'm just really blessed to, number one, call you friend, but number two, just to know that you're a partner of mine. I'm pretty lucky. I'm pretty lucky. So thank you. Great job.
Yay.
Great job. Great job.
Thank you everyone for being here. Do you have any questions for David? Like David's gonna answer all your questions.
Feel free to reach out to us directly. You can reach out to Chrixy if that's better for you, if you think that she's going to give you more of the value that you need. But Chrixy will tell you, I think Jeannie could probably tell you as well. I've got to know Jeannie because I'm blessed. Is the fact is, if you need something from me directly, please feel free to reach out to me directly as well. I'm more than happy to reply, and I will make direct contact. I mean, the more relationships I have, the happier I am. So God bless all of you. The only other question that we get on a regular basis after something like this is, was it recorded and will it be posted? We will get this reposted, but it probably won't be till the end of next week, and it will be on our YouTube channel, but we'll throw it up on there. So thank you, Chrixy. Anything else for you on the way out?
Well, I want them to say that I want them to see your beautiful wife, Dina. Hi, Dina. So if you can see the screen, this is the one that we've been talking about, the website. Everything you need is here. Even the free templates, you can find it in the goodie bag page that's in the website. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We'll actually be sending the recording of this webinar via email since you registered. You registered in the Zoom. We'll get that in the mailing list, and we'll send the recorded video by next week, but I'm going to be editing it first. So it might be at the middle of end of next week because we'll be busy launching the course first. And we really hope some of you take it as well. So thank you so much for being here.
Tons of love, everybody. Have a great day. We're going to end this call. Take care. Thank you, Chrixy.